long time ago, a beautiful girl named Ella lived in a house with her stepmother and two stepsisters. One stepsister had a high, shrill voice that went all the way up to theirs. And the other stepsister had a low, harsh voice that went all the way down to theirs. The two stepsisters were always dressed in beautiful gowns, and they did no work around the house. But as for poor Ella, she was always ordered about by her stepmother.
Make the bed.
Yes, stepmother.
Wash the dishes. Scrub the floor.
Yes, stepmother.
And when you're all through, sweep out all the cinders in the fireplace.
Yes, stepmother.
Yes, sweep out all the cinders in the fireplace. The poor girl was always sweeping cinders, and the rags she wore as clothes were so full of cinders that everyone called her Cinderella. One day, the king announced a grand ball at his palace. All the girls in the kingdom were invited. The stepsister with a high, shrill voice, and the stepsister with a low, harsh voice, each dressed in their finest. But as for Cinderella...
Cinderella, you're not going to the ball. You're staying home among the cinders where you belong.
Poor Cinderella. She wept as if her heart would break. For she knew the king had a son, a handsome prince.
Oh, how I'd love to dance with him.
At that moment, there was a flash of light, and a little old woman stood before Cinderella.
Who are you?
The little old lady winked an eye and said, "I'm your fairy godmother. You shall go to the ball." The fairy godmother waved her magic wand. In a twinkling, Cinderella's rags were changed into a beautiful gown.
Oh.
On her feet were glass slippers.
Oh.
And a pumpkin growing outside the cottage door changed into a splendid carriage with horses and footmen.
Oh, fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you? Now I can go to the ball.
As the carriage drove off, the fairy godmother shouted a warning. "Cinderella, you must leave the ball when the clock strikes 12. For on the stroke of 12, your gown will turn back to rags, and your carriage will be a pumpkin once again." When Cinderella entered the ballroom, everyone turned to look at her. She was so dazzling and so beautiful that the prince asked her to dance with him at once. All evening long, the prince danced with Cinderella. The stepsister with a high, shrill voice and the stepsister with a low, harsh voice each tried to attract the prince's attention. But he had eyes for no one but Cinderella. Then suddenly, Cinderella heard the clock striking in the tower. It was striking 12.
Oh, I must go. Goodbye, Prince, and thank you for dancing with me. Goodbye.
The prince called after her, but Cinderella kept running out of the ballroom into the courtyard of the castle. She ran so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers, but she had no time to turn back. Past the gate she went to where her carriage stood, and just as she reached it, the clock struck 12. In a twinkling, her beautiful gown was rags again, and the carriage had turned back into a pumpkin. Back to her cottage walked Cinderella to take her place among the cinders as before. But the prince had not forgotten her. He had found the glass slipper in the castle courtyard, and he was determined to find that beautiful girl that he danced with, for he wished to marry her. "Find the girl whose foot fits this glass slipper," ordered the prince of his court messengers. "And when you find her, she shall become my wife." Through the length and breadth of the land went the messengers, and finally arrived at the cottage where Cinderella lived. The stepmother greeted the messengers at the door.
I have two daughters. Surely one of them has a foot that fits the glass slipper?
First, the stepsister with a high, shrill voice tried the slipper on, but it was much too small. Then the stepsister with a low, harsh voice tried the slipper on. But it was much too big. The messenger was about to leave when Cinderella shouted,
Wait, let me try it on.
You? Go back to the cinders where you belong.
The stepmother tried to chase Cinderella away, but the messenger had his orders. He was to try the slipper on every girl in the kingdom. Cinderella took off her old, dirty wooden shoe and poised her foot above the glass slipper. And then in slipped her foot, fitting perfectly. When Cinderella was brought before the prince, he knew at once that she was the girl he had danced with. For despite her ragged clothes, her beauty and warm heart shone through. Soon they were married and lived happily ever after.
Long, long ago, there lived a little princess with raven black hair and skin so white and fair that everybody in the kingdom called her Snow White. While Snow White was still a little girl, a new queen came to the kingdom. A cruel and haughty queen, so proud of her beauty, she would stand in the hall of mirrors and say,
Tell me, mirror, I command, am I the fairest in the land?
And the great mirror would answer, In all the land there's none so fair as you, O queen with golden hair. Years passed, and Snow White grew into a dazzling beauty. Then one day when the queen asked,
You there, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
the mirror answered, There's time for truth and time for tact. But you, O queen, must face the fact that Snow White's beauty so sublime surpasses yours 1,000 times. Furious, the queen summoned a huntsman.
Take Snow White into the wilderness. Lose her. She'll be gobbled up by wild animals, and I'll be rid of her forever.
The obedient huntsman led Snow White deep into the forest. And when he was sure she was lost, he returned to the castle. Snow White wandered through the forest. Suddenly she came upon a little log cabin in a clearing. No one was home, but inside, Snow White counted
7 little chairs. 7 beds. 7 places at the table. Oh, but this place needs cleaning.
Snow White worked hard straightening up the house, and when she was finished, she stretched across 2 little beds and fell fast asleep. Toward evening, when the sun was setting, some little men came marching down from the mountains where they dug all day for gold in the mine. One with a dimple, one with a frown, a third like a wizard, a fourth like a clown, a fifth who was naughty, a sixth who was sweet, and an odd one, the 7th, with 2 left feet. They were the 7 dwarves, and Snow White was sound asleep in their home. Into the cottage marched the 7 dwarves. Someone had cleaned their house. And someone was fast asleep across 2 beds. Just then, Snow White woke up and rubbed her eyes, and the first thing she saw was 7 little men standing round her.
Oh!
Quickly, Snow White told her story.
So you see, that is why I must hide from the wicked queen.
All 7 dwarves were so taken with Snow White that they decided she had to stay with them.
Oh, thank you. And I'll cook and keep house for you.
Meanwhile, back at the palace, the proud queen, thinking she was rid of Snow White, paraded before the mirror.
Now then, mirror on the wall, am I not the fairest of them all?
But the mirror answered, Past 6 green hills 10 leagues away, the 7 dwarves bid Snow White and so and lend a hand and be the fairest in the land. Furious, the queen plotted against Snow White. Disguised as a beggar selling apples, she journeyed across the 6 hills and finally came to a little cottage where Snow White lived.
Please, Snow White, buy an apple from a poor woman. Why, yes. Pick out one for me. My dear, take this big red one, especially for you.
The queen had dipped that apple in a secret potion which made a person fall asleep and sleep forever and ever until a prince came and kissed the spell away. Snow White bit into the apple, swooned under the potion spell, and fell fast asleep. Chuckling, the queen hurried back to the palace. In the forest, the 7 dwarves watched over the stricken Snow White day and night. One day, a handsome young prince rode into the valley. When he saw the sleeping Snow White, he was so overcome with love that he bent down and kissed her.
Oh, I'm awake.
For the kiss broke the spell. Soon thereafter, Snow White married the prince, but she often returned to visit the 7 dwarves. The one with a dimple, the one with a frown, the 3rd like a wizard, the 4th like a clown, the 5th who was naughty, the 6th who was sweet, and most of all the 7th with 2 left feet.
Coming up next, it's Batman followed by Beetlejuice on Cartoon Network.